India is part of a select list of nations which have given themselves a net zero target year, however, not legally binding as the developed ones. With more than ever impetus on green energy, green fuels, and energy efficiency, the Union Budget 2023 is expected to give sops for the green energy economy and decarbonization. The Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman did make energy transition a key focus area of her infrastructure development plan in the last budget. But the intention was merely in terms of policy announcements with an acute lack of budgetary grants. Sovereign green bonds were the green highlight of the last budget. The centre is looking to test the waters for green bonds with small issuances. The Reserve Bank of India has announced first issuance of rupees 8,000 crore to happen in January and another of a similar amount in February. Renewable energy deployment has been one of the brightest spots of the green energy sector, wherein the sector brushed off the pandemic woes. Policy fluctuations such as basic custom duties on solar imports and mandatory domestic procurement caused a slowdown in capacity addition. But renewable energy continued to garner the bulk of clean investments in the country. Sector majors, including a state-owned NTPC, have pitched for putting mandatory domestic procurement on hold for at least 4 to 6 quarters till a substantial domestic capacity comes up. But while capacity addition has grown, the share of green energy in the grid has yet to show similar growth. To improve the dissemination and absorption of more green energy, the centre recently proposed a 2 trillion rupees scheme for transmission projects connecting 500 gigawatt renewable energy projects. A budgetary announcement giving sops to the transmission sector, estates and industries that buy renewable energy could be part of the budget.
So you are right. This has been a buffer year compared to what we had a couple of years back because of COVID uncertainty. So this year, I think things have again starting to take good shape for most renewable players. Uh, Sentimentally, now we hopefully think COVID is behind us. The green momentum continues, and now it is for all of us to capitalize on some of the opportunities which are either there or coming in the future. Specifically, if I talk about this year, many of the projects which were kind of stuck in constructions, either because of a policy issue, a court-related matter, or more importantly, through COVID, I think those projects have started seeing traction. But I think, as you mentioned, one of the major challenges we are all facing and we continue to face is what happens post implementation of BCD, which was a step jump in cost for us. So I think there are some positive signals out there. There are contractual clauses which do protect us in some way, and government has kind of shown the willingness to engage with us to ensure that projects are put in the same economic condition as they were prior to the implementation of the BCD as we call it. So there has been some positive movement. There are still some issues to be ironed out, and as industry, we genuinely hope that we don't see any major policy upheavals going forward. As we all know, policy certainty is one of the most important criteria for investors to continue to be interested in India.
Another upcoming segment which has started attracting significant private capital is green fuels. Recently, the Union Cabinet announced 19,744 crore rupees for the National Hydrogen Mission. Out of this, close to 17,000 crore rupees is a financial incentive for green hydrogen and electrolyzer manufacturing. The incentive would be given through a production-linked incentive or PLI scheme. SOPs for setting up green hydrogen hubs are expected to be announced in the budget. Battery storage is another area where the sector's expectations are riding high after the centre announced PLI for the same. The sector is hoping for a reduction in the GST rate on batteries and their components. It also expects a reduction in interest rates for electric vehicle financing and an extension of the flagship FAME2 scheme. Power Ministry officials said a budgetary grant proposal to provide viability gap funding for grid-scale battery storage has been submitted to the Finance Ministry. The most anticipated announcement in the budget concerns climate financing. Having given itself an ambitious target of net zero, coupled with short and long-term mitigation plans, India is looking at the world to finance its energy transition. With no singular agency managing global, or domestic climate funding, it is high time India announces one. Recently, PFC and REC proposed to be a development financial institute for climate funding, but the proposal is yet to get the final nod.
What I expect this budget will do is to lead the way to bring in international finance into the country in a most easy manner with the least amount of regulatory red tape. So actually, there is no need to provide any special incentives for decarbonization. The economic incentive today to move and transition to renewable fuels and to renewable energy is so high that all that needs to be done is grid accessibility and very strong access to whoever can get renewable power. The infrastructure has to be created to make it available on a steady, uninterrupted basis. There is no need for any incentive. The economic incentive is strong enough.
The 5 core segments which could form the basis of the green announcements in the Union Budget are industrial decarbonization, green fuels and energy storage, climate financing, energy efficiency, and just transition for fossil fuel industries, ranging from coal and mineral mining to thermal power plants. What remains to be seen is how many of these sectors get intent and how many some real money.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.